Hi there, I'm Martha Van Dam, and this is Living Beyond. And you are in video 3 of a series on dealing with anxiety. In the last 2 videos, I've tried to quickly explain what's happening in our head when we're having an issue with anxiety and what our brain is doing. And I have given you a couple of things to do to help ground you, to bring your mind away from the panic of what could happen or what has happened back to the moment of right now. That was one coping skill. Another one was the deep breathing. And I'd like to add a little bit more to give you a couple of more in this video. Let me add a little bit of information to the deep breathing piece. I had told you about a breathing technique where you breathe into the count of 4, you hold for the count of 4, and then you breathe out slowly to the count of 8. Always trying to remember to breathe in deeply and really expand the lower parts of the lung. That particular exercise, for a multitude of reasons, helps our brain to settle. One of the things is the pressure from the lungs onto the vagus nerve presses the vagus nerve and activates it. As it activates that nerve activates our parasympathetic nervous system, which sends the message to calm down. Another way of thinking about this particular breathing exercise is remember that when we're all uptight and we're in fight or flight, our brain sends the message to the body, we're in fight or flight. The body responds, like it tenses up. Generally, our arms and legs get tight, and we've talked about some of the other things that happen. But brain sends a message to the body and the body reacts. Well, a really cool thing is we can allow our body to send a message to the brain. This pathway works both ways. So that slow breathing, not only does it activate that nerve, but it sends the message to the brain that everything is going okay down here, because if it were really stressful, I'd be breathing shallow and quickly. But since I'm breathing slow and deep, that sends the message to the brain, oh, things really are okay down there. An additional piece to that, another way of sending the brain from from our body to our brain, is to stretch those long muscles. Stretch those arms out. My hands are pushed against one another, or stretch those legs. And the cool thing about deep breathing and stretching the arms and legs is that it sends the message that everything is okay, but that's also something you can do in a crowd and nobody will know what you're doing. Nothing wrong with a good stretch. It just looks like we've gotten tired and we're needing to stretch a little bit. So in order to help the breathing be more beneficial when you're getting stressed, it's a really good idea for you to practice that breathing all throughout the day so that when something happens, you're real used to it. You're not having to think about it, and your body kind of knows what you're about to do. As you begin practicing this deep breathing technique, you'll see that you get relaxed sooner and sooner, or quicker and quicker as soon as you begin it. It's like your body goes, oh, we know what this is, relax. So practice it during the day. I'd love it if you'd make an intentional effort, that you were going to do that 2 or 3 breaths as you lay in the bed before you get out of bed in the morning, in the evening when you lie down before you actually get up, and as you think about it through the day, have a couple of those breaths just to help keep you in the pattern of breathing that way. We've talked about getting outside to complete the stress cycle when you get home at the end of the day or in the middle of the day if you're stressed out. We've talked about doing some of that quick run where you run quickly. You walk quickly and then go back to a regular pace, the intermittent or interval. Actually, it's interval walking, where you in an interval of quick walking and then regular pace, quick walking and regular pace, or run or bike ride or swim. Anything that forces you to use those arms and legs to work out the adrenaline and cortisol. Another thing I'd like to tell you about, it's one of my favorite ways that helped me to learn to deal with anxiety, is a type of meditation called mindfulness meditation. And the best way that I've found to learn that is I strongly support the Headspace app. Headspace, Headspace, Headspace. The fellow who created that app had an awful lot of training himself. And his section on anxiety within the app has 30 different meditations that little bit by little bit continue to teach you more and more about dealing with those thoughts and feelings in a wonderful way. So I strongly support mindfulness meditation. Some people meditate every day. Actually, there is research that shows that if you meditate every day for, I think it's only 6 or 7 weeks, then they can begin to see changes in functional MRIs, changes in the structure of the brain after we have begun practicing meditation. It's quite amazing what it can do in the brain. Another thing that I'd like for you to think about doing is to start the practice of journaling. Journaling helps with anxiety for an interesting reason. One of the things that our brain does when it's concerned that the brain is picked up on something that may be worrisome to us, then our brain continues to remind us until it sees that we're doing something about it. It's a protection feature that's built into our brains. Our brain is still just trying to protect us. And if we are worried about something, or a thought comes into our mind about something that could be a problem, and we try to say to ourselves, don't think about it, don't think about it, don't think about it, really all that does is it pushes it down deeper, at which point the brain goes, oh, she's really not listening. I need to remind her some more. So it works the opposite of what we want. We're trying to not think about it, which only makes our brain want to remind us more. So what we really want to do is be writing down those thoughts and those concerns. Another example of this is how the brain works, and I know you've experienced this. So if you go to the grocery store, you know you're going to the grocery store, and you write a little list. If you happen to forget your list, we've all done it. If you happen to forget your list, you leave it at home, you go to the store, you can't remember half of what's on the list, can you? Because the act of writing it helped your brain let go of those things you needed. The flip of that is that if you're on your way home from work and you decide you need to run by the store and pick up a few things, but you don't write it down, you're walking into the store thinking, oh, eggs, milk, bread, bananas, eggs, milk, bread, bananas. You're hanging on to it real tightly so that you don't forget what you want while you're in there. Well, it's the same principle. If we write it down, again, our brain doesn't hold on to it so tightly. So please grab, it doesn't matter what you do, grab a notebook, go to the dollar store, get a journal, whatever it is that's convenient and will work for you. Then write out those concerns, what you're worried about, what you're feeling about it. Give a brain dump and let it out. And it can be amazing how much better you can feel. There are people who practice journaling every day or every few days. And that can go a really long way to helping with anxiety. So that's all for today. I'll come back again with another video, and we'll go over a few more skills or habits or coping methods that you can use to help deal with anxiety. Thanks, and I hope you have a great evening. Bye-bye.